All right, welcome into Illini Drive. I'm your host, Alec, Busse, joined by my editor, Alex Aguilera, and Erich Fisher. How are you, Erich?
We're good. Just fighting off a bug at the moment, but nothing I haven't fought off before.
We're missing our normal producer, Gabby.
Alex comes in every once in a while.
You're right. Gabby wanted me to relay a message, though. She wanted me to let you guys know that the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl.
Moving on.
Obviously, that's been her thing for the last, 3 weeks, I feel like.
Wow, they won that real barn burner of a football game. So many people probably tuned into that one.
They played the Dolphins. They're awful.
Yeah, and the Steelers are
They were down
awful.
by 2 possessions at one point.
How did they? I don't understand why they traded Kenyon Drake, but I guess the Cardinals needed him, and he's not that bad, and the Cardinals are not as bad as everyone else
You
thinks.
see how the Rams did Aqib Talib today?
Yeah, why did they do that?
Well, I mean, they just wanted the draft pick and probably make room to sign Ramsey next year, but they did that man dirty. All he did was do so much for them defensively the last couple of seasons, and then they just sent him off to Miami, the purgatory of the NFL right now. Poor guy.
I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, they may not win a game.
Miami?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're awful.
I don't know if the Bengals will win a game.
Well, they play at what point? In week 16 or something.
Do they really?
Yeah, I'd have to look at
I'm
their
actually
schedule.
gonna have to tune into that game then.
But I know they play, but it's pretty late in the year. I gotta pull it up real quick.
The two worst teams. Andy Dalton just got benched today.
12-22. That's got to be week 16.
Pretty close.
Around there. All right.
Besides talking about terrible.
Yeah, let's talk about some huge news.
Yeah.
The NCAA announced today that they are going to investigate a way to potentially find a way to pay student athletes for the use of their name, image, and likeness. I think I said that in the right order. Yeah. If not, it's those 3 things, which is kind of a big deal.
They came out and said they support the idea of players being able to profit off their name, image, likeness.
It doesn't seem like they're all in on it, but it looks like now they're starting to consider it.
Which is a huge step in the first place for the NCAA, because before they just shut down the idea altogether and said, "Oh, we're working on fixing it" or something like that. But now they came out today and said, "Hey, we support it and we're going to look into it." And it comes the same day as when Illinois Athletic Director Josh Whitman sent a letter to the Illinois State House and to Governor J.B. Pritzker opposing the Illinois Student Athlete Endorsement Act, basically for reasons saying that he doesn't want the state he doesn't think individual states handling that type of ordeal is going to be healthy for college athletics, and he thinks the regulations are. He thinks it's just going to get out of control, basically, is what he said. And then he won either the NCAA or Congress to handle it, and it looks like the NCAA took the first tiny step today in handling it.
You mentioned that letter to the state government. I found that letter very interesting, and I think the timing of the NCAA announcing their plans to find a way to support paying college athletes for the use of their likeness came in an awkward time with the letter being sent in at the same time. But it wasn't just Josh Whitman sending in the letter. It was Bradley University's athletic director, DePaul's athletic director, Eastern's athletic director, ISU's athletic director, UIS's Springfield athletic director, Loyola's, Northern's, Northwestern's, Southern's, and Edwardsville's athletic director. All of these athletic directors across the state seem to, at least shared at the time, the same opinion, and I think that they still do. I mean, Josh Whitman,
it's athletic directors all across the country have had this same complaint that Whitman did.
And too. I think it's a fair opinion, and I think it becomes too hard if each state is able to control how they handle the paying of their student athletes, because each state's going to have different regulations, different rules, different ways to handle it, and kids are going to be able to go to, for example, California and get paid more than they would in Missouri, or get paid less in Illinois than they would in New York. And that just puts schools that in those states that those kids make more money in to have a higher opportunity to go to those schools. And that's where the higher ranked recruits are going to want to go play. But I give props to the NCAA for finally stepping in and coming out and being bold enough to at least say they're really going to look into it.
It's also the NCAA, though. I mean, how hard they look into is a different story. Right. The statement they let out today was very vague at the least.
Right. You got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the NCAA. We know, like in the past, what their stance has been on this situation. I think just more than anything, it's good to see that it's, rolling now. States are moving forward with this. I'm all for it with athletes.
Yeah.
Getting paid. How we go about it. Obviously, that's a big question. It's going to take time, but I mean, I think, just at least for the NCAA to address it in this manner is,
They
a
kind
step
of
forward.
They kind of had to address it too, because it was just getting out of control. Kind of as soon as California passed their bill, I mean, it just opened the floodgates for chaos.
It's different if
essentially.
it was like Delaware, but when you have a state
Yeah.
like California, schools like Stanford, UCLA, USC, just
some big dog schools. Yeah.
right,
Well, and I think that the NCAA, and you guys can disagree if you like, but I think that the NCAA almost locked themselves into doing this at least some point in the future. When you say you're going to seriously look into it and you're going to find a way to figure out a solution to this, you almost just locked yourself into it. And they said they want to find a solution by, I think it was January of 2021. I think is the day that they released in their statement. I just think that they almost locked themselves into it. They're going to have to figure this out. And if they don't, well, then the states are going to figure it out, and the states are going to pay their student athletes.
And the bills, I think, are still going to go through for
Regardless.
the individual states in general. And I think what the NCAA did was by saying that they're going to figure out by 2021, they gave themselves some time where they're going to, the pressure's going to be off a little bit more. But if January 2021 comes around and nothing has even come close to happening, then it's going to be
a mess.
All hell's going to break loose.
Right.
Well, and then it also becomes really interesting, too, and I'm not 100% knowledgeable on when the state of Illinois was potentially going to try and put their legislation in, but I know California's was in 2023. Like,
Right.
California delayed theirs 4 years because they needed to give the NCAA an opportunity. I imagine that this was their mindset, is that they needed to give the NCAA an opportunity to come up with some rules, if not the NCAA, other states, or the federal government, and I don't know what the state of Illinois' idea was, but let's say Illinois' idea was to put it into effect in 2020. If Governor Pritzker signed a bill, that puts the state of Illinois at the top of the list. You immediately have that edge over other schools around the country that, especially being the namesake university in the state, like that's the one that kids are going to want to go to because it is the most well-known university within the state. But I give the NCAA props for stepping in and doing something, but now you actually need to do something. Like, make a statement and go out there and do something within the next 2-3 years and come up with a solution, and make sure the solution fixes all the other problems that you have around paying college athletes. Because it's very obvious, not just in football or basketball, but I'd imagine in other sports too, that kids are getting offered money or getting offered other incentives to go play sports. And if you're able to get that out of college athletics, I think that's huge. And I'd love to see the NCAA be firm enough and set firm enough rules to say, hey, if you break this once, like, you're done. Because I think this is going to be something that schools are really going to try and get around, especially the Blue Bloods. Like, it's very easy for those schools to be like, I'm Kentucky basketball, I'm North Carolina basketball. Yeah, we can pay you more because you're coming here and you're going to make more money off of your likeness. They have to set some sort of cap to it, in my opinion. But if the NCAA can set a firm enough rules that schools are going to follow and not be tempted to break those rules, I think this is a huge step for college athletics going into the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years into the future.
Yeah, and I pulled up the Illinois bill up here, and it says January 1st of 2023, so basically the same thing as California. But I think for the NCAA at this point, by coming out with what they said today, they have to be completely transparent throughout this entire process, I feel like,
Which is something they're not good at.
Exactly. I mean, they haven't been transparent with a lot of recent things. The most recent being transfer waivers and situation like that, not really providing a full explanation or just basically saying, hey, it says it here in the rule, even though the rules itself is kind of an issue and they don't really address that. But the NCAA they have to tiptoe this until January 2021. They have to be as transparent and open as possible to people on the outside to let them know that something is getting changed. And if they don't, then I feel like the pressure's going to be even more. And I think they bought themselves some time today by coming out with that. And especially with states like Illinois starting to follow through with their own bills. I think the NCAA is feeling a little good about itself right now, and that could be a big issue going forward, because what if the NCAA just kind of uses this to stall on as long as possible on this situation?
Right. I think, too, that's sort of why the states initially set for 2023, because I think, in a sense, they kind of anticipated that the NCAA would, have some type of, response, rebuttal, whatever the case may be. Because, at the time as well, like the NCAA at first, when the California bill was proposed, the NCAA was totally against it, saying, no, we're going to fight this and whatnot. So I think, for the most part, the states just kind of gave themselves time to, sort of fight against the NCAA in whatever manner it may be in order to get the bill passed. But I think, now you're starting to see that change and whatnot.
And they were like threatening bans on California schools and stuff like that. And NCAA was really on its heels. And then now with the saying today that they actually support the idea and they're going to try and figure something out, as vague as that was, I think now they're, for once, I feel like they're now in a positive limelight for the time being with, just with college athletics. I think people are still going to be very skeptical of what they do just because it is NCAA and they were vague in saying how they're going to get it done. But for the time being, I think for the time being that they've bought themselves some time to maybe really devote some effort into actually changing something. And if not, then the states have proven that they're just going to get it done themselves.
I'm just really intrigued to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
Because I think, I know Josh
I think
Whitman,
it's going to die down, though.
I do, too, for a little bit. And I know Josh Whitman kind of said a little bit during his press teleconference, or whatever you want to call it, that the three of us weren't able to be a part because of this. But he said something along the lines of, this is like the green flag or the green light to start it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think you may have just started the engine to the car, per se. To give it another analogy, say, yep, this is something that we're going to try and drive to and get to a solution. I think you come to a green light that you're going to do it when you first start releasing plans of, like you said, Eric, you need to be open with and transparent with your topics and what you're going to do to make this work. I think the NCAA needs to come to a point where you're driving through the green light and they say, yep, this is the first step. This is going to be how we fix it. This is how we're going to make sure it's even amongst the men's teams and the women's teams due to Title IX. This is how we're going to make sure it's even amongst the star point guard versus the walk-on basketball player. Like, there's so much that goes into it, and that's why I think athletic directors were worried about how this would work. And I think that the NCAA, and I'm hoping the NCAA, does a really good job of finding out a way to make it fair enough. Yeah. And I don't take this the wrong way, Zach Griffith. You don't deserve to get paid as much as I would assume who does. And I'm sure Zach understands that. He's a smart guy, but
he's a walk-on.
He's a walk-on. Like,
that's not how it's going to work.
To the point, like, this is still the United States. It's still a capitalistic society. If you bring more revenue in, you deserve the opportunity to make more revenue off of your name and your likeness than you do if you don't bring as much revenue in. So it'll be really interesting to see where this goes.
It's going to apply to, like, the top probably 10% of college athletic or student athletes. Like, the big names that are probably going to go pro when their time comes and make that leap. It's going to apply to them the most. In smaller markets, I would say, like Illinois, it could apply because you could have, you could be doing television commercials or stuff like that. Like, say, like, fan favorite right now, say, like, Georgie right now. Georgie could hop on, like, any, like, commercial right now here in Champaign and, like,
some car dealership commercial, whatever.
Exactly. And, like, he'd be able to make a quick buck off of that. But at bigger schools that say, like USC or Ohio State, like, the top players, like Chase Young right now, can make a crap ton of money.
Does he get the opportunity to do it on a national level? I think is going to become a huge question. Yeah. Are the players that everyone
like Trevor Lawrence would make a crap ton of money.
Is Tua,
Jalen Hurts.
Is Tua going to be able to do something with State Farm or Aflac or someone like that or Ford Motor Company in general? That's where it's going to be really interesting. I think there's going to be rules that say, no, you can't do it on a national level. But
I'm curious if that's...
I don't think there would be, though.
Maybe I'll be wrong.
Because it would just, like...
I would say I'm curious in the sense if that would be a state rule or if it becomes the case where this just becomes more of a federal rule as a whole, the government overseeing and all this. I don't know.
Can you do endorsements outside of the state or something?
Can you
like
do
that?
an endorsement with Adidas if you're at a Nike school? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure the schools to a point are going to have some input and say, no, you can't do
That's
that.
an interesting one.
Right.
But
Because like you're saying, like you can't allow, you can't get in the way of the students doing endorsement deals. But what if, like Illinois is a Nike school? What if
Or if
one
we got
kid
really
wants to
just
sign
like-
with Adidas? Or
Right.
Yeah.
You see it all the time where kids
Or
go
New
to
Balance.
right, exactly. I mean, you see a lot of kids like they'll go to Kentucky because it's Kentucky and they're in Nike school, but then once they get to the pros, they sign with Adidas or Under Armour or something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't know.
I'm really intrigued to see where it goes, and my eyes are going to be peeled to it
We're probably not going to be talking about it for
a little bit, I would think.
probably a long time, I would say.
Maybe
It's-
January of 2021. If the NCAA is
I-
not transparent, maybe the NCAA will just lay it on us.
It's definitely going to be
I
a
feel
process.
like this is all the NCAA had to say was like, hey, we're going to try and do this.
I
and
agree.
And like, we support it actually. And
But
I
now
feel
they,
like, and
but now
now,
they actually need to do it.
now they have to actually do it. They have to put their money where their mouth is, literally, on this one.
They voted unanimously, too, so it shows they're behind it. Wow. Can't believe it's maybe potentially going to happen. We might be getting
We'll
the video
see.
games back.
We might
I
be.
can't
We
wait.
might be getting NCAA football back.
Don't forget the basketball. I want the basketball back, too. If we're getting football, I need basketball, too. March Madness, playing March Madness, come on.
Dude, think about playing like in the Flying Illini jerseys.
Ooh, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Or like the new football. Or like, wait, what are your guys' favorite Illinois football jersey? Mine's the navy with the orange lettering.
Same.
I'll be honest, my favorite full uniform is a Gray Ghost.
Really, that's a hot take. A lot of people hate the gray.
Those
I
are my
kind of like
favorite.
the Great
I think
Ghost
they're
kinda grew
fine.
on me.
I think they're cool. I like the Gray Ghost, but my favorite combo that they could wear
All
at
whites
home,
are clean.
those are clean. It's hard for me.
all.
I like all their combos. I wasn't a huge fan of the white, orange, white because the blue
Yeah.
numbers on the orange jerseys didn't fit.
Yeah.
But
Then they had one combo where it was like white, blue, orange helmet, or something like that.
No, I remember they had a white, blue, white.
yeah, and I like that.
I remember I didn't like that. I thought it looked odd.
I would like to see them do, this is a different one that I don't think they've done in a while. Orange helmet, orange jersey, blue pants.
Oh no, I don't think you could do the back-to-back orange. I don't know.
There's got to be separation.
All right, well.
It's a little
Maybe they'll break it out Saturday against
Fashion
Rutgers.
icons here,
I would love to know how they picked that. Is Tim Knox in charge of that?
probably.
That'd be a fun job to be in charge of. I don't feel like they're going to be wearing the orange pants this Saturday because of all the cleaning they had to do from Purdue and West Lafayette.
Yeah.
Speaking of Purdue,
that was a very dirty game.
I mean, if I was Tim Knox, I would be trotting out there in white pants or blue pants this weekend and making my job a little bit easier. Speaking of Purdue, wow. Is
Yeah.
Illinois football, good? Or are they just turning a corner and fooling us all? Illinois obviously beats Purdue 24-6 on Saturday in a sloppy, muddy game
Sloppy was right, yeah.
in West Lafayette. Illinois offense struggled throwing the ball, but hey, it was pouring rain. It's not that big of a deal. They were successful running the ball. Dre Brown's good. Dre Brown might be
Offensive line dominated
yeah.
too.
Doug Kramer, you're a big pro football focused guy. Rated the top center.
I'm hitting him. I'm actually I'm hit and miss with Pro Football Focus because sometimes there's scores where it's like, all right, that's not the full tell of the game, but then there are other times where it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I think for the most part, it's good. And a lot of people use it. NFL uses it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't pay for it,
I don't pay for it either.
but I do.
I mean,
like
I get it. I get it though at Rivals. So it
Oh,
doesn't
do you?
really
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice. I was wondering how you always got it when you just said you didn't pay for it.
Of course, they doesn't pay for it, man.
So Illinois ran for 242 yards. First time they've gotten over the 200-yard mark in a couple of weeks. Good to see that happen again. Granted, they did run it 53 times, so you should get over
Kind of
that.
had to.
6 pass attempts.
Yeah, it was like a classic old Big Ten game.
Yeah,
This
it
is
was.
something that
it
our
was
grandparents would
it
have
was
loved.
oh my gosh, yeah. It was just. I mean, I walked out when I went out to the field for the last couple minutes. I stayed in the press box as long as possible because I had no way I was. It took 30 seconds of me being out there just to be completely drenched. I actually saw a funny tweet. So the sidelines. The
Yeah,
field,
the goal-
so the field itself was actually good. I was in the elevator leaving Memorial yesterday with Lovey, and Lovey said that the field was miraculously in good shape. He also said, not kind of surprising, but he said he's a grass. He prefers a grass field over a turf field.
Interesting.
Which I'm all right. Well, I mean, you were at Soldier for a lot, but I mean,
That's interesting.
I think it's a hot take too, because like most people like hate grass fields, but like the field,
they're harder to play on. They slow you down in terms
I think
of
it's
running
just
speed.
like a preference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but the field like all around the field was like a moat, and then there was the actual football field at Purdue. It was insane. So conditions were terrible. They tried passing the ball early on the first possession, and it went right between. They took a shot to Josh Imatorbhebhe and went right through his hands. And Rod said yesterday, he was like, all right, after that happened, like I knew like what type of football game this is going to be. And the Illinois dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and when that happens in those type of conditions, you're going to win the football game, and that's what they did.
When Bebe had that ball go through his hands, I was like, this ain't going to go well. I was like, I didn't think, the moment he let that go through his hands, and that's something Bebe does not let happen.
That's how I knew how bad the conditions were.
Yeah,
'cause he's made that catch all year.
When that happened, I was like, they're not going to win. I just didn't.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like an omen. I was like, I don't feel good. Like, I didn't feel good going into it. The conditions made me feel a little bit better. But when that ball went through his hands and he didn't catch it, I was like, this ain't good. This is not a good omen.
It was just nice to see these guys play like a complete 4 quarters, and throughout the whole game, you felt like,
For 2 straight games now.
Right,
they've done
yeah.
that.
But I feel like with this game, you just knew, like, hey, like we're gonna win. Like we got this.
Yeah.
Like you felt comfortable, throughout the game. Like I had no problems, at all.
Yeah, after the Tony Adams pick 6, I felt pretty confident that Illinois was going to win that game, just because Purdue's offense was getting nothing going. Like they still tried to spread. They still tried airing the ball out, and Jack Plummer was terrible. Just terrible.
8 for 20, 71 yards with an interception.
Yeah, and that interception basically giving up the game. I mean, it was a great read by Tony Adams. Tony Adams wasn't even supposed to make that interception because Tony Adams...
He made the wrong read.
Well, it wasn't the wrong read. It was just he ditched his assignment to make that read. And that's one of those is like, if you go, you got to get it because you're gonna get burnt if you don't, because he completely left his receiver he's supposed to cover to go make that play just because he was looking at Plummer's eyes the entire time. So it was a great read. Sidney Brown called it a ballsy move yesterday, and that's what it was. And it came up huge. And that's when you're an instinctive player like Tony Adams is. Those are just things you have to. I mean, those are just plays you have to make, and he did. And after that, Illinois they just ran. I mean, Jamal Milan just stood.
He played outstanding.
He controlled the line of scrimmage by himself defensively.
He attracted double teams. He attracted anything.
And he's still got in the backfield,
or throw at him, excuse me. And he just looked like a man. Like he just
he
looked
was
like
a
a man amongst boys.
Yeah.
Jinx. Lovey has been saying since he got here. Yeah, now you can't talk for the rest of the show. Just me and Alex now.
Oh, man.
Lovey's been saying since he got here that Jamal Milan is a potential NFL defensive tackle. You're starting to see it. Now that he's healthy and he's staying healthy, he's looking really good, and he's just looking big and quick and physical and just nasty. Like, he just looks like a defensive lineman who just plays angry and just wants to hit a quarterback or hit a running back in the backfield. And he's starting to be the force of the defensive line. And I know that, I mean, Eric, you and I have talked about this before, about how Milan is probably Illinois' best defensive lineman this season. Statistically, it doesn't show. It says it's Beitiku.
Yeah.
But I think
That's not the case, so yeah.
it's harder for a defensive tackle to rack up sacks, quarterback hurries, because you're getting pressure from the inside. You don't get to come around the edge.
He finally put up.
Milan's good.
He finally put up some stats. I mean, some crazy stats. 4 TFLs, a sack. I mean, the guy just dominated the entire game. And when he wasn't making tackles, he was disrupting the interior of the offensive line, which then caused the pocket to collapse. And then Jake Plummer had to roll out, and he's not great on his feet. He wasn't great throwing the ball either. So any sort of disruption in the pocket for Plummer just led to bad news. And so Milan, I always just call him Milan because I can't do it the other way
You
around.
can't say Milan.
Milan?
There you go. That's
Milan.
kind of.
It's actually pronounced Milan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jamal
it is.
Milan.
Yeah.
Jamal Milan.
But he controlled. I actually thought Calvin Avery's like stepped up these last couple of weeks.
That's where I was going to go next.
I've been loving what I've been seeing out of Calvin Avery. He looks like he's in arguably the best shape he's been in his short career here, and he's like big boy. He should be a disruptor up in the middle, and he has been the last couple of games. And then, Dele Harding and Jake Hansen had solid games around too. It's funny that you mentioned about Milan being an NFL player because Jake Hansen, after the game, I asked him about him, and he was like, "I've been telling people that this entire time. Like, the dude's like a 3 technique or a 1 technique in the NFL. Like, the dude can play at the next level."
Well, and I'm glad you brought up Calvin Avery, and despite his stat sheet doesn't show it either.
Yeah.
But he's been really good in the last couple of weeks, and I think he deserves some of the credit as to why Jamal Milan has been good the last 2-3 weeks.
Him and Kenyon Jackson have been solid.
And props to Calvin Avery. I know, since he's got here, the staff's been frustrated with him failing to lose weight and be healthier, I guess. And
sorry to interrupt. On Monday, Lovey actually praised Calvin Avery for like the first time in like this entire season. And like before at training camp, Lovey said, I asked Lovey about Calvin during training camp, and Lovey said he's got some things he has to take care of before he could actually like get on the field. And now it looks like he's gotten his house in order.
Well, and it's just nice to see that from someone who, he was our highest ranked prospect in the 2018 class over Arvertis Brown, who Illinois still hasn't really seen on the field really at all in important situations, or really just at all in general.
I think we're going to, though.
I
think next year when Pettibon leaves, I think that's his spot to lose. And I think he's going to flourish in that spot.
I think that's a really, really good offensive line looking ahead from a year. And
Arvertis
not
Brown
losing
is
anything.
Extremely athletic.
Yeah, and he's big, too.
Yeah, big boy.
But Calvin Avery deserves some credit, I think, for Jamal Milan stepping up and being better the last couple of weeks in terms of stats. But it's not just the defensive line.
Secondary
has taken shape, and it's gotten to a point where Lovey used the word they've come together, they've had a cohesion, and I feel like Tony Adams playing corner has had a lot to do with that. I know I read that Tony gets scared or Tony's nervous, and he doesn't like playing safety because he's the last line of defense, and he feels like he's less instinctual at safety than he is at corner. Well, Tony Adams doesn't make that interception if he's playing safety.
Well, yeah.
And that play, like you said, is pure instincts. Going and jumping the route and leaving his man because he saw the read from the quarterback, Plummer, and getting a pick six. Quan Martin doesn't do that.
Oh, no.
Devin Witherspoon doesn't do that. But Tony Adams does. And Tony Adams is... I said this to some of my friends during the game. Tony Adams is just a good football player.
Yeah, he's a good tackler.
I feel like wherever you put him, he's going to do good things, and he's not going to hurt you too much.
Right.
And I think he's given some cohesion to the secondary, and I think Stanley Green
deserves a good amount of credit.
He does too, and yes, he hurts you at certain.
He always has a hit. What I say is he always has the hit stick on, and sometimes it's like the hit stick like rocks the dude, or it's like you stumble like 5 feet before you're about to hit someone. But have you guys ever had that happen to you before?
It's the worst.
You just look like an idiot, and like that's sometimes dumb. Like Stanley Green never looks like an idiot, obviously, but like he misplays because he's trying to go for the big hit.
He plays so hard, and that's something that I feel like Illinois has done in the last 2-3 weeks is they've just played hard.
I think part of it goes to just believing in themselves too.
Exactly.
Like they all of course they're never gonna say they don't believe in themselves, but your morale is gonna drop, especially after losing three straight games pretty badly the way you did. Eastern Michigan, Nebraska, both of those games, looking back on our games, you probably should have won. And then just getting trounced by Minnesota, a team you did the same thing to last year. Team's morale couldn't be anywhere close. And then you get close to Michigan late in that game, and then you drop that game. Team's morale couldn't have been that high. And then Wisconsin happened, and everything's just changed.
I just think that, now you've got a chance to win 3 straight Big Ten games.
Yeah.
In the same season since 2007.
You're going to be competitive at the very least in every game the rest of the year.
I don't think any of the three of us think that they go on the road and beat Michigan State or Iowa. But I think it could happen in Michigan State.
I think Michigan State could happen for sure.
I just think it's a good matchup against Michigan State in terms of Michigan State's offense being so bad, but their defense being really good. Mm-hmm. If Illinois is able to find a way to put a couple touchdowns on the board, maybe you squeak out of East Lansing with a win and you can beat Northwestern and get 7.
It's more winnable than Iowa.
Yeah.
For sure.
What I've been saying too is that this Illinois defense does really well against pro-style offenses, and they went up against the pro-style offense in the Big Ten in Wisconsin, and they kept them under control relatively well. Jonathan Taylor did what Jonathan Taylor's going to do, but he only averaged under it was like, 3.6 yards per carry, which is not great for Jonathan Taylor. And so Illinois held the premier Big Ten pro-style offense.
At the time,
At the time, they held them under check, and now they go up to Michigan State, who runs a pro-style offense and isn't anywhere close to being at the same caliber of Wisconsin. And then Iowa's passing game has kind of dropped off once they lost Hawkinson and Noah Fant. Their dual tight ends that killed Illinois last year.
Got drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Which is saying something crazy. That's
doesn't
insane.
happen.
It doesn't happen. But now Iowa's offense has kind of dropped off a little bit too, and now they're a mainly pro-style focused offense. So I don't see Illinois getting blown out by any of these teams. By any of those two teams on the road at this point. I think those are going to be competitive games and games that you're going to have a chance to win, I think.
I think for Illinois to really feel confident going into those games, if they can win, they're going to need to get healthy again. Yeah. And they're starting to get to a point where they're a little banged up. And you're starting to see it a little bit more.
I think BTQ is going to be fine. I think
he hurt his ankle. He should be back.
I think he'll be back for Saturday.
Read and saw and talked to people. He should be back Saturday against Rutgers. Should be not going out there saying he will be, but the word is he probably will be back.
I don't think Ricky Smalling will.
They haven't said much about him. Lovey doesn't say anything, but losing Ricky hurts. But you've had other receivers step up, but they're not Ricky Smalling.
Yeah, but Casey Washington has been solid, but
Except when he throws the ball.
I just don't think Ricky. I think we're going to get some news on Ricky here soon. That's not going to be good for Ricky because just the way that injury happened in Wisconsin, he couldn't even move his right leg or put any pressure on it. And that's never a good sign.
No, it's not. And Lovey said yesterday that there'll be an update on him later in the week. There wasn't one today. Tomorrow is the last day of media availability, which means it's probably coming tomorrow if it comes this week, unless they announce it.
And when Lovey never says that too, unless it's going to be probably season ending.
It would hurt to lose him and Trayvon Sidney, but you've had guys like Casey Washington step up and Donnie Navarro step up, and they've been good enough.
Yeah.
But it hurts to see those guys go down, especially when Rod Smith expects teams to start loading the box a little bit more with Dre Brown now in the backfield with Reggie Corbin as well. So they're going to need to find a way to throw the ball a little bit more effectively, I think.
Caleb Reams is great and all, but he's not going to get the job done for him. He's great in blocking-wise. We saw him just dominate blocking against Purdue. He literally blocked a dude out of the end zone on Reggie Corbin's touchdown run. That was insane to me.
I think you're going to see if Ricky Smalling is unable to come back, and obviously Trayvon Sidney is done for the year already, if you're down your arguably two of your three best receivers, you might see Daniel Barker get a little bit more involved in the passing game. And that's something I would like to see anyway.
He was involved against Wisconsin. He had those
he was.
He had those big third down
But I think he becomes a little bit more of a target. That maybe you throw it to him a little bit more, try and get him involved.
Saw Justice Williams get snaps against Purdue.
And I think that if you get those two guys the ball a little bit more, it takes some pressure off of Casey Washington and Donnie Navarro, and maybe a corner or a linebacker or safety comes over to guard Daniel Barker or Justice Williams instead of a Casey Washington on a play, and you're able to find Casey Washington down the field, or you're able to find Donnie Navarro down the field for a bigger chunk of yards.
Yeah. Or Imator Bebe,
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Imator Bebe does in these next couple of games now that he is wide receiver one, or at least it looks like he's going to be again on Saturday against Rutgers, but they're starting to take form. They're starting to get a little bit better.
And they should win their third straight Big Ten game after this weekend. I mean, you're over 20-point favorites. I mean, and I don't really see Illinois. Illinois is not in a position where they could sleep on teams right now.
Let me ask you guys this, and it's a difficult question. Is the gap between Illinois and Ohio State smaller than the gap between Illinois and Rutgers? You saw Illinois beat Wisconsin. So clearly the gap between Illinois and Wisconsin is not that big.
I think the gap between Illinois and Ohio State is larger than the gap between Illinois and Rutgers. I think Ohio State's just on a different level.
Now, if I asked you Illinois-Wisconsin, would you say Illinois-Rutgers is a larger gap? The reason I made it...
Well, yeah, I would say... I mean, you would say that
State,
because Illinois beat Wisconsin.
Exactly, and that's why I made it Ohio State.
Yeah.
Do you still think Wisconsin is the second best team in the Big Ten? Let's start there.
No.
No.
Penn State.
No.
Okay, so let's say Penn State instead of Wisconsin. Do you think the gap between Illinois and Penn State is smaller than the gap between Illinois and Rutgers? I just find this an interesting conversation.
I would say the gap is smaller between Illinois and Penn State. I think Rutgers, and I think that goes to show how bad Rutgers is.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, honestly, like, what can you say, dude? Like, Rutgers is bad.
They're awful.
Rutgers
They had
bad.
Outside of last week against Liberty, which doesn't count because it's Liberty. And Rutgers was picked to lose that game.
You know they paid Liberty. Like that's the first time I think in college football, or at least in this era of college football, where a team that paid another program to play them was actually favored to beat them.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I mean, I assumed that Liberty was getting paid.
They squeaked by Liberty, like.
Yeah.
They had like 29 passing yards in 2 consecutive Big Ten games. Total passing yards. They can't throw the ball.
No, they're going to try to run it. I remember Lovey mentioning how.
But Blackshear's gone.
Yeah, and he wasn't even that good.
Yeah, he was. He was good.
He was solid, but like.
He was solid.
Who was the guy? What's his name now? That threw like 4. Like all he did was throw interceptions last year. There's no way he's still their quarterback.
I gotta pull it up.
Because he was
blanking
just,
on the
like, that
name.
dude would just
Arthur Sitkowski.
Yeah, he was bad. Like he
was just bad.
Like,
Sitkowski and Blackshear planted both the red shirt, and they already are.
He was a
redshirting.
4-star recruit too. I'm pretty sure Sitkowski.
I
thought he was.
They're both planning to redshirt, and they're both probably going to transfer. Because you wouldn't redshirt if you're not going to transfer after you played a couple games already, you know.
Yeah.
So Illinois should win Saturday against Rutgers.
They should.
They
better.
They
If
better.
they don't win,
They have
all
to.
the momentum's gone.
Yep.
And the talk about Lovey getting fired is back.
Yeah.
I mean, they should.
There's just no
Rutgers averages
excuse.
15 points a game. They allow close to 40.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hit on Tevian Jones?
I mean, we can.
Like,
We didn't plan that, but it just popped in my head. Basketball starts Friday.
Yeah.
Officially starts Friday. There was a scrimmage Sunday. Word is Illinois won that scrimmage, by the way. Don't know if you guys saw that.
I don't think you could really put. I'm sick of people putting like. I hate how interested people get in these secret scrimmages. Like if they win or they lose.
I like it when it's against South Carolina instead of, like a Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville
They
or
played
like
Vandy last year, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like how it's against a legit program than it is a,
It's just like-
small middle of nowhere directional school.
It's
that
just
you should
insane
beat
how like
regardless.
crazy people get over. But just like these
Shows you how
secret
much Illinois fans
scrimmages.
care about basketball.
I know, and it's insane.
It was
Yeah.
kind of the same thing last year where they had that scrimmage and apparently they lost and people were flipping
Yeah.
out and it was just.
Well, people like briefly like freaked out over the fact that they lost to the Netherlands national. It was their national B team, wasn't it, or something? Oh, during the Italy trip, like people will just freak out no matter what about Illinois basketball, whether it's good or bad. But the hit on Tevian Jones, I mean, it just shows that he still doesn't have his off the court life just in order. I mean, last year he was suspended for 8 or 9 games for a violation of team rules, and now the same thing's going to happen this year, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, dude just needs to mature, just make smarter decisions off the court, and he hasn't been doing that. I mean,
You got to grow up. You got to be a college. You got to realize you're an adult now.
Yeah. Like
There's
you,
not much
you can't
else to
throw
say, I
away
feel
the
like.
opportunity. I mean,
It's
you have Tevian Jones has all the talent in the world.
Oh, yeah.
The prosper here.
His
here in
ceiling
Illinois.
is so high.
Exactly.
There's
And
people that say his ceiling is higher than Io's.
I
Due to
can
his
see it just
athleticism.
because he's a wing.
right,
yeah.
dude, we just don't know. That's the thing, we don't know.
And you've seen what he can do in a game.
Yeah.
In terms
In
of
like 2 games, yeah.
I mean, you look at the Maryland game and you're like, wow, like this kid is legit. Like
Like,
he
he
has the
could
ability to
shoot-
be a
like, he
really,
could
really
shoot
good
the ball.
player. I think it puts a lot of pressure on Kipper Nichols and
I don't think so.
BBV to step up early in the season. I think it does more than you would like them to. I think.
I don't think so because I think first of all I think Allen Griffin beat out Tevian
Oh yeah, for sure.
for sure, and I think DeMonte is still more valuable than Tevian. I think
I think Tevian had the ability to be more valuable.
he's
but I
just
think he squandered his
defensively
chance
he's
now that he's
defensively he's
definitely
still like an
suspended.
issue.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
and now that you say that, and now by the time he comes back, the rotation's going to be already set. So and it's going to be set on a team that's way better than it was last year. I shouldn't. Yeah, probably way better. I would say
It's way better.
Yeah, a team that's way better than last year. It's not going to be so easy to crack back into that rotation, especially if Alan Griffin does thrive in a bigger role. If DeMonte Williams takes another step, if Kipper Nichols, all the reports from Underwood during practices are true, which we're not sure about, but if they are, then if Kipper Nichols becomes that consistent guy off the bench, if BBV is a guy that could step in immediately and have an impact,
give you something,
then where are the minutes for Tevian Jones when he comes back?
at another school.
I feel like with Kipper Nichols, it's like, I mean, obviously we've seen flashes of him where he has a really good game.
Yeah.
And then he just looks lost out there. But I mean, like Erich said, as long as you just get consistency out of him, like I don't think you really need him to make like a big jump or a big step.
I think the big thing for him is I think he just needs to like solidify that second unit.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I don't think he has to put up a bunch of points, but I think he has to rebound, he has to play good defense, and he just has to be that consistent guy. Kipper's always been like a decent passer. We know he could score the ball when he wants to.
When he drives.
Yeah, when he does drive. And so I think he just has to have a consistent role. But to go back to Tevian, I mean,
where do you go from here?
Yeah, that's the thing with Tevian. Where does it all go from here? Because like I said, this is not going to be as easy of a roster to break into the rotation like you did last year after your suspension.
Reports were that he didn't have a good offseason, and that he struggled practicing, and that he wasn't as good as the staff wanted him to be. So before we transition to Game 6 of the World Series, according to Evan Daniels of 24/7 Sports, Andre Curbelo is going to announce his college decision Friday at 10:30 Eastern.
Yeah. And then Adam Miller is November 4th, I believe.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was I'm pretty sure from what I saw from reports I've seen, Adam Miller is going to be November 4th, and Curbelo is Friday. And
I didn't see Miller. It could be a good start to the season for the Illini.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. First basketball game of the year also so happens to be the same day as Curbelo. I'll let other people read between the lines.
Got all the
coincidence.
He's got all the crystal balls on 24/7. I don't know.
Rivals has everyone. All focus on Rivals has him going to Illinois.
Our guy Ryan Evan has him going to Illinois too.
There you go.
So let's transition to the World Series. Let's just leave that in the past.
It's just not touch that.
We'll see.
Game 6.
Yeah.
It's here. Steven Strasburg's got to step up. Who would have thought that the Astros would be up 3-2 after losing the first 2 games of the series in Houston? That blew my mind that they went into Washington and won all 3. If you're the Nationals, you're going in there and you say, we just got to win one. We just got to win one of these 3, and they couldn't win one of them. And a lot of that might have to do with the fact that you lose Max Scherzer before Game 5 to neck spasms. Did you guys hear how bad that was? He was being asked after the game. He said he couldn't even raise his arm.
Yeah, they said it was bad, and that hurts you, especially it's a win or go home situation.
Yeah.
This is the
He's
series
crazy, right? Like Max Scherzer's definitely like crazy.
He's
like the toughest pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Is he the one guy, Game 7 of the World Series, right now that you would send onto the hill, fully healthy, 100% healthy?
Yes.
I think he is.
He's the best pitcher.
He's
the best pitcher in the series. Pretty sure, he's the best pitcher in the series. Pretty close.
Strasburg's been the best pitcher in the postseason, I would say, in terms of numbers.
But Scherzer has the best stuff. He just things have been
There's
kind
a lot of good pitchers.
That's true. Garrett Cole's good too.
Dude, Garrett Cole's been tearing it up. I'm just saying, but
you would take Scherzer? Because I think I would too.
Yeah, if you're the Nationals and you go to Game 7, you want Scherzer on the mound.
Well, it sounds like he's good to go. Now, he was throwing today off flat ground in the outfield in Houston. They said if there's a Game 7 to expect him on the hill.
Yeah, if there's a Game 7, you should expect him.
You're not going to be able to hold him back.
Right, it's Game 7. He doesn't care at that point. And yes, it sucks that he can't pitch Game 6. But with Steven Strasburg on the mound, that's not bad either. That's honestly your number 2 right there in the Nationals rotation. They won 2 in a row in Houston. I don't know. I don't have any problem with Strasburg on the mound. I think obviously you want Scherzer there in that sense, but Strasburg ain't that bad either.
Strasburg's, like I said, statistically he's been the best pitcher this postseason, and he's been absolutely lights out.
And I mean, whatever you guys think, you may or may not agree with me, but with Justin Verlander on the mound, I get it. It's Verlander, but his track record in the World Series hasn't been.
Just talk about Game 1 of the 2006 World Series, Alex. I'm very knowledgeable about that one. He struggled. Who do you got winning the series? Let's do this, because Game 7 will be tomorrow night if there is a Game 7, and the three of us won't get to talk about it. I think the Nationals win tonight.
I'm going to go Nats.
I think the Nats win tonight, but the Astros pull away in Game 7.
I'm going to give Nats the World Series.
I want the Nationals to win.
That's where I know that's where a lot of it comes from, but
I think Strasburg pulls it out tonight, and then I think it comes down to me tomorrow. How healthy is Max Scherzer? Is he really going to be able to go out there and give the Nationals 7-8 innings of sub 2-3 run?
Right.
ball?
You think about it. Scherzer's probably going to go in there not 100%, and he has to go up against a lineup of Springer, Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Gurriel, Alvarez, Correa.
You know what's scary about that?
That's just
The last two names you said were Alvarez and Correa. And those might be the two most scary names.
They're at the 6 and 7 spots of the lineup.
I know.
That's just not...
Imagine facing Carlos Correa 7th, dude. He might be the best shortstop in the American League. Like, you make that argument.
You could. I mean, I want to see...
I would take Lindor.
Yeah, I would take Lindor.
But you could... There's people who could make that argument.
Yeah, no, Correa's still up there. But, I mean, you figure, like, you go up against the first year, Springer, Altuve, Brantley. Then you got to go up against this gauntlet of Bregman, Gurriel, and Alvarez, and then you still got freaking Correa at the bottom. It's like...
That lineup, man, that's just scary.
Max Scherzer is more than capable of handling that group. I mean, we saw that in Game 1, but...
Pitching wins. Pitching wins in these games. Game 7's hard for me to pick, but I guess I'd go Houston with you.
Yeah, I'll go Houston. Just for them to just roll through 3 straight in Washington. I think one of those ones was like, 14-1, 14-3, something like that.
I think it was 14-3.
Yeah, something like that. For me, like Houston's too deep against Washington, just up and down. I mean, that rotation's just killer. That lineup is just killer. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just got Houston. That's all I got to say.
I said on July 31st when they got Zach Greinke that they won the World Series on July 31st.
Yeah, I think you're right. So it's just like, I mean, look at Washington's lineup too. I mean, Trey Turner, Adam Eaton, Rendon, Soto, Hendrick, Cabrera, Zimmerman. I mean, once again, if you're in the World Series, like, you know, that's a pretty solid lineup. But I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, for me, it's depth, and Houston has the depth. If for some reason, hey, in Game 7 they need to throw in Greinke, Cole, whatever, like, dude, they got guys.
Yeah.
Their bullpen's just stacked. Everything about that team is just stacked. Wish Jake were here, man. He could pull up the stats.
You guys want to talk a little bit of Bulls for the last 10 minutes? You two are huge Bulls
Sadly.
fans, especially you, Fish. Bulls 1-3, start the season. They're struggling to score, and they're struggling even more defensively. They've allowed 100 points in every game so far this year, which is not like super uncommon, but it's 105 points in every game. They have 126 to the Hornets, 110 to the Grizzlies. That's really bad.
That's not as bad.
It's not as bad, but it's still bad. 108 to the Raptors without Kawhi.
That's not great.
Okay, but it's still the Raptors, though. Like,
this is the worst.
I still think that Raptors team is better.
Oh, yeah,
they're not.
sure.
I don't think they're 20 points better than you, but I think that Raptors.
it's still a better team.
Yeah.
And then this one's really bad.
Yeah, the
105 to the Knicks.
Knicks was a bad.
And they were up 18 at one point.
They're struggling to score almost a little bit, too. And everyone thought that would be
Their
their
three-point shooting has been just atrocious. Yeah, jinx.
You owe me
Double
a soda.
jinx.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's the second time you can't talk on the rest of the show.
I just double jinxed them.
I said, but you owe me a soda.
Yeah, whatever. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, Zach LaVine has not been, outside that their one win in the Memphis game, Zach LaVine's been really bad. Lauri Markkanen isn't shooting the ball well at all. After the Charlotte Hornets game, they just completely went away with Markkanen in the post, and that's where he that's where he got his 35 points from, was in the post that game. And now he hasn't even I feel like he hasn't even really gotten many post touches since then, at least not at the same clip. He shot 25, he had 25 shot attempts in the Charlotte game, hasn't come anywhere close to that since.
Right. I mean, that Charlotte game, 34 points. Like, he looked good.
Kobe White's been good, but Chris Dunn offensively is still tough to watch. Defensively, he's been a monster, I think.
But they need him on the floor.
Yeah, they absolutely need Chris Dunn on the floor. I think this Bulls team right now, they're just not gelling together right now, honestly. I mean, when it's so noticeable when Thomas Satoransky isn't in the game that this Bulls offense is just all over the place. Because Zach LaVine becomes the main ball handler, and that's when you see Zach LaVine do bad Zach LaVine things, like take very contested mid-range jump shots, try to do way too much at the end of the game. And when Satoransky's in, you see a lot more ball movement. Otto Porter Jr. hasn't been shooting the ball well at all, and he has to do that. I mean, Bulls team's just a mess right now. And then defensively, I mean, if it wasn't for Wendell Carter single-handedly dominated that game defensively for the Bulls, and if it wasn't for Wendell Carter, then they would have gotten munched by the Knicks. Anytime Wendell Carter wasn't on the court, the Knicks did whatever they want at the rim, and then when he was, they couldn't do anything against him. So Wendell Carter like single-handedly kept you in that game against the Knicks, and that was the only positive to really come from that game, honestly. Bulls are a mess. They had to get off to a quick start, I think, to make the playoffs. They don't look anywhere close to a playoff team to me.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, Markkanen had a solid game against Charlotte. Well, good game, 34 points. But you look at him against the Knicks, 5 for 13 shooting, 18 points. I mean, 6 rebounds, 2 for 6 3-point shooting. I mean, I don't get why that man is shooting 6 3-pointers. I know he can. I know he's capable.
I think 6 is fine. Like, it's just make them.
Right, but it's like, okay, if you're not making them, dude, go down in the post where you scored 34 points to start the season.
And I think that has some things to do with Jim Boylan, too.
What do you think?
I understand the Knicks have a lot of size. Like, they're basically, their entire roster is built with power forwards.
Yeah.
But still, like, let Markkanen try to do something down there. It's frustrating. Like, they're a frustrating team to watch.
If that's where his strength is in his game, like, I don't get why he isn't even there. I don't think
you write off the Bulls so yet.
Right. No, I mean,
obviously you're only 4 games in, but some very concerning.
Right.
things.
It's just when you see them play like this to start off the season, I mean, it throws up a lot of a lot of question marks.
This is not what we waited all off season for.
No, not at all.
A mediocre Bulls team right now, a team that doesn't look anywhere close to being a playoff team.
So, I mean, we'll see, I guess.
I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really watch the Bulls as much as I probably should. I'm going to try and start to fix that. But do you feel like the Bulls kind of want Zach LaVine to be their superstar?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I feel, from the couple times I've watched them, it's like they almost like give the ball to LaVine and it's like, all right, go do you. Like, you figure it out. You get yours.
That was
you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if LaVine is dynamic enough to do that.
Yeah, and
like, he's a freak athlete.
Fair.
And he has the ability to go off every now and then, but I don't know if he's consistent enough or dynamic enough to do that on a night in, night out basis to where, like, you mentioned his horrible mid-range jump shots. Like, they're not horrible shots if they go in.
He takes them at the worst of times. That's the biggest issue.
And then forces a lot of things, tries to make the big play when he doesn't necessarily have to.
Did you watch the game last night?
I watched the first half, and I was like, oh, okay, we're fine. And I shut it off, and then that was a mistake.
No. Well, like, he took a terrible, like, deep three-pointer at late against the Knicks that just had you, like, I just don't think he's a very aware basketball player. Situationally,
he's horrible defensively.
He's not great. Yeah. I mean,
he's not terrible, but he definitely is not.
He's trying to, like, make up for it, and he's shown flashes, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be, except the fact that he's just situationally, he's just not very, very good, I guess. And oh my gosh, so many plays, like, so many contested drives, contested jump shots that he takes and are just so ill-advised, and it stalls everything the Bulls are trying to do offensively. But they want him to do that because they want him to be that all-star player that they could go ride him to the future with, ride him to a playoff spot with. And I know you have a decent sample size now. I mean, it's 4 games.
Right.
And he's only played well in one of those games, and all the other games he's been god-awful.
Yeah, I just feel like they want him to be the superstar, and I just don't know if he has it in him.
Yeah.
And like I said,
if you were to ask me after
much.
last season, I'd be like, yeah, Zach LaVine can be an all-star, superstar player. And this year, he doesn't look like that at all. I don't know what it is with Chicago sports athletes, like, regressing lately, okay?
We've got like 4 or 5 minutes left. Can we hit on the Bears real quick?
They suck.
They're awful.
Yeah, man.
The Bears suck.
They're doo-doo.
On another note,
The Chargers fired their offensive coordinator
After a win.
After a win.
against one of the top defenses in the league.
What?
did you guys agree with the decision? And I'm assuming the answer is no. To take a knee and kick it on second down, because I didn't at all. I didn't think it made sense. I didn't like it. I would have tried to try and get more yards,
It shows
whether
they have no
throwing.
faith.
That's what I took. That's
They have no
exactly what I
faith
took
in
out
no
of it.
faith.
And
Just
I
like
was
at the
talking
end
to-
of the second half, too, where they ran the ball instead of throwing it.
I was talking to Isaac Trotter, and he said to him, he thought it says more that Nagy has no faith in the offense as a whole. And I said, no, it shows that I didn't think that. I thought it showed, he said he would have liked to see them run it, another play, and that they'd had success running the ball all game and whatever. There's still 40 seconds left. Like, and you don't really want to waste a timeout.
Right.
But in my opinion, if I was Nagy, I would have thrown it once or twice more.
Right, you had plenty of time to
Mitch
do
got
that.
you down there.
He got you down there.
He got you down there, but...
And granted, is he good? No. Is he turnover prone? Hell yeah, he is, because he's not
Oh my
very
gosh.
good.
He lost that game because of the back-to-back
Exactly.
turnovers he gave up.
But I think it says more that this coaching staff that the Bears have assembled under Matt Nagy, and probably going up to the front office, they just have no faith in Mitch Trubisky at all.
Yeah, and Ryan Pace, it's a shame, but Ryan Pace is on the hot seat right now because Ryan Pace assembled everything this team needed to be a Super Bowl caliber team, except the most important position on the field, and that's quarterback.
And that was the dude you traded up for.
You didn't take Watson or Mahomes, and it just looks so much worse. And I don't know where you go. Adam Schefter.
They're not making the playoffs.
They don't look like a playoff.
They're not making the playoffs.
They have to go 7-2 on the way out, and
I just don't.
I think
see
every
it.
team in the division's better than you right now.
Oh yeah.
I don't disagree.
We were talking about it yesterday, and we kind of posed the question like, do you trade Trubisky? I mean,
Who wants him?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
No
but
one wants
no one
him.
in the
wants him.
sense,
Like,
you're
Schefter-
stuck with them. The Bears are stuck with Trubisky, and somehow, some way,
Until 2021 when he's a free agent.
Right.
And do you really want him to be a backup? I mean,
Schefter tweeted out rumors about the Bears going after CJ Beathard. Was it
CJ Beathard?
Beathard? Yeah.
That's not better.
no.
it's
See,
not
that's my
at
thing.
all.
If you're going to go trade for a quarterback, go trade for someone who's significantly better.
I still want to try Mariota. Like
I'm fine with that.
I still want to try Mariota.
The name, I thought of this name today, and I think it's a very large stretch, and you have to put together a very compelling package for it to work. Matt Ryan. The Falcons are bad. They want to assemble picks. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're farther away from the playoffs than the Bears are.
Yeah, the Falcons are pretty bad this year.
You know what I mean?
Their defense is just
He's got talent.
He's 34 though. I don't like.
Yeah,
that.
but your window is shrinking. Your window, you don't have a long window in the NFL, and who cares if you trade for him and you give up another first-round pick or a second-round pick or a third-round pick, whatever you give up, but you win a Super Bowl, no one's going to care.
True.
Especially in Chicago, because they haven't had a Super Bowl since 1985.
I don't know if I've ever seen a coach go from so beloved in a city
so hated.
to so hated in this in a year span. It's just insane.
They're just really hard to watch.
Yeah,
It's almost it's comical.
It's painful to watch the Bears offense.
It's
right now.
comical to watch it. Like you just expect something bad to happen.
Now I just want to see I formation all day with them just run it.
It's just so frustrating to see so much talent on the defensive end. To see a defense
It's getting wasted.
to give up. Only averaging like what 20 points.
It's like the middle years all over, or the middle 2000s and early 2010s all over again.
It is, and it's frustrating to watch.
Time is a flat circle.
That is all the time we have for today.
That's
We're
like an
going
initial
to try
time
and
of that
get back into the real studio at some point this week.
I saw it
Alex,
today. It was getting aired out pretty well.
Alex, you have any update on that?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna take some time, I think. I'm not banking that the studio is gonna get done very soon.
Don't take this the wrong way, Ryan. I'm not a huge fan of this. It's kind of awkward, I feel like. But it can
That's
work.
not bad.
We can make it work for a little bit.
Shout out to Jason for.
That's what I meant, Jason. My bad.
You called him.
Oh my gosh.
My bad. I apologize.
Oh my gosh.
Jason,
Cut it out.
Once
Yep,
again,
cut it.
thank you for
Yeah, thanks for
hosting us.
But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
we're going to try and get back in the studio at some point. And Jason deserves a nice little check for staying after and doing this for us.
That and you called him Ryan.
Yeah, that too. Maybe I'll Venmo him something at the end of the show.
I was looking at
Go
Jason at the corner of my
fund me.
eye. I was just like, he called you Ryan. Like, I just saw him. Like, come on.
That's all the time we have. I don't really know how to sign it off because I don't have like a music button to hit. So that's all the time we have.
Everyone have a nice day.
Yeah,
There you
that
go.
helps.
Stay classy, San Diego.